Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Talk Evolve. I am your host and your English teacher, Sophia, and I am so incredibly thrilled and genuinely excited to have you here with me today because we are going to talk about something that is truly and completely going to change your life and completely change the way you look at speaking English. Forever, over all my many years of teaching, I have seen so many bright, intelligent, and incredibly hardworking students just like you. Perfectly capable students struggle so deeply with one specific, frustrating thing. They spend hours and hours, and even days, memorizing long lists of vocabulary. They read complicated, difficult books. They perfectly understand all the difficult, complex grammar rules, and they can write beautifully on paper. But when it actually comes time to open their mouths and actually speak to a real person, they completely freeze, they hesitate, they get completely stuck, and they feel a sudden, terrifying rush of panic. And I really want you to know, right here and right now, that if this sounds exactly like you, if you have ever felt that frustrating, horrible block in your throat, you are absolutely not alone. It is the single most common problem in the entire world for language learners everywhere. And today, right here on this podcast, we are going to fix it together. We are going to completely unlock your hidden fluency. We are going to take all that amazing, wonderful knowledge that you already have locked away in your head, and we are going to help you bring it out into the real world naturally, confidently, and entirely without all of that exhausting, draining overthinking. So I want you to grab a warm cup of coffee or maybe some nice hot tea. Make yourself really, truly comfortable. Sit back, take a nice, long, deep breath, and let us really dive deep into this fascinating and important topic. Because what I am about to share with you today is definitely not just a tiny little tip or a quick, silly trick. It is a complete, powerful, and massive shift. In your entire mindset, it is a brand new, revolutionary way of processing the English language in your beautiful brain, and it is a magical little secret called the chunking method. Now, before we get into the exact, specific details of what this incredible method actually is, I want to take a moment to deeply talk about why we all struggle to speak. In the very first place, I want you to try to think back to exactly how you were probably taught English in your traditional school. You were highly likely given long, boring, endless lists of individual, disconnected words to memorize. Right? You had to slowly learn the specific word for apple and the distinct word for run and the exact word for quickly. Totally isolated and completely alone. And then, after all that, you were given a thick, heavy, boring textbook, entirely full of complicated, stressful grammar rules. You had to painfully learn about subjects and verbs and objects, and the incredibly confusing present perfect continuous tense, and all of these rigid, strict mathematical formulas for building a simple sentence. So now, when you are nervously standing directly in front of a native speaker, desperately trying to have a real, normal, human conversation, your poor, stressed brain desperately tries to do exactly what it was strictly taught to do in that quiet classroom. It furiously tries to build the sentence entirely from scratch, word by single, painful, agonizing word. You stand there, frozen, and you think to yourself, okay, I definitely need a subject right now. Let me quickly choose the pronoun I. Now I desperately need a verb. Let me search my memory to find the right tense. Oh wait, is it past or is it present? Now I absolutely need to add an adverb. And while your brain is working so incredibly hard, sweating and burning so much mental energy, just to do all this heavy lifting, the other person is simply just staring at you, silently waiting for you to finally finish your broken sentence. And that intense pressure builds up so incredibly fast, you start to feel genuinely nervous. Your palms might get sweaty. Your heart beats faster and faster. You completely lose your hard-earned confidence. And suddenly, you totally forget the words completely. It is absolutely exhausting. It is deeply, deeply frustrating. And quite honestly, it takes all the joy, all the fun, and all the human connection entirely out of communicating with other amazing people. But I truly want you to vividly imagine a completely different, wonderful reality for yourself today. Imagine being able to just easily open your mouth and the exact right words simply flow out smoothly and beautifully like water from a river. Imagine not having to painfully translate from your native language directly into English every single time. You simply want to share a basic, simple thought. Imagine feeling completely and wonderfully relaxed, entirely present in the moment, in the conversation, and truly, deeply connecting with the person you are talking to, entirely without feeling like you are taking a difficult, stressful math test right inside your head. That feeling of absolute, pure freedom, that beautiful, perfectly natural flow of words. That is exactly what the chunking method is absolutely going to give you. It is the solid, strong, reliable bridge between simply knowing English on paper and actually speaking English out loud in the real world, and I am here today, right by your side, to guide you across that beautiful bridge. Step by carefully explained step, because you absolutely deserve to feel completely confident. You deserve to have your beautiful, unique voice heard, and you deserve to deeply enjoy the truly wonderful experience of speaking a completely new language entirely without fear. So if you are truly ready to finally leave behind that old, slow, terribly painful way of speaking, word by single word, and if you are entirely ready to fully embrace a much faster, significantly smoother, and much more beautifully natural way of expressing your true self, then you are exactly, perfectly, where you need to be right now. So let us take this amazing journey together. All right, my wonderful, dedicated learners, now that we completely and deeply understand exactly why the old, traditional way of learning is terribly holding you back and making you feel so incredibly nervous, let us joyfully talk about the ultimate solution. Let us talk in detail about what chunking actually means, and let us start very, very simply, because true learning should honestly never be overly complicated or stressful. When you actively speak English, or truly any other language, for that matter, you really, truly do not ever need to painfully build every single sentence, word by individual word, as we just discussed in the previous section. That specific process is just way too incredibly slow. It is way too insanely difficult, and it selfishly takes up way too much of your precious mental energy. And when you constantly think like that, when you obsessively analyze every single tiny piece of the spoken sentence, you are absolutely going to get stuck. You are undeniably going to feel anxious, and you are definitely going to lose the beautiful, natural rhythm of the entire conversation. But, my lovely friends, there is a much, much, significantly better way, an absolute secret weapon that fluent native speakers automatically use every single day of their entire lives, completely without even realizing it. And that beautiful secret is using chunks. Yes, chunks. Now, sitting there listening, you might be actively asking yourself, Sophia, what in the entire world are these magical chunks? Well, let me clearly explain it to you in the absolute easiest, most understandable way possible. Chunks are simply natural groups of words. They are small, comfortable, familiar phrases that almost always perfectly go together. In the English language, they are like absolute best friends. They happily hold hands, and we strictly do not ever separate them. We do not ever change them. We absolutely do not build them from absolute zero every single time. We want to simply speak, we just effortlessly take them, and we wonderfully use them exactly as they perfectly are. I deeply want you to think of these amazing chunks. Exactly like those colorful, interlocking, little plastic Lego blocks that you probably happily played with as a small child. Each individual chunk is a solid, completely ready-made block of beautiful language. And when you eagerly want to speak, you absolutely do not have to melt the plastic and physically mold the block yourself. From nothing, no. You just simply take the beautiful blocks that are already perfectly made for you, and you easily and happily put them together to build your gorgeous house of words. Okay, you just quickly snap the blocks perfectly together. Let me eagerly give you some very real, extremely common, everyday examples so you can really, truly, vividly picture this. In your active mind, I absolutely promise you, right now, that you definitely already know so many of them, completely without even realizing it. Just closely think about incredibly common phrases like, "How is it going?" or "I do not think so," or "Please let me think about it," or "Long time no see," or "Please have a nice day," or "Absolutely no worries," or "It really honestly depends." Do you clearly hear that rhythm? These are all perfect chunks. They are absolutely perfect, fully complete, little beautiful packages of complete meaning when fluent native speakers naturally use these common phrases. We absolutely, definitely, do not ever stop to think deeply about the complex grammar behind them. We completely do not pause and silently say to ourselves, "Okay, I need the word how, plus the present tense verb is, plus the specific pronoun it, plus the active gerund going, slowly and incredibly painfully." No, we would absolutely never, ever do that. We just smoothly say, "How is it going?" in one singular, perfectly smooth, continuously flowing unit of beautiful sound. And that specific thing, right there, that gorgeous smoothness, that is exactly, precisely why chunks are so incredibly, unbelievably powerful for unlocking your true English fluency. When you actually take the precious time to deeply learn a chunk, you are absolutely not just blindly memorizing a boring list of totally random vocabulary words. You are actually, truly learning a full, entirely complete idea. You are actively learning a real, living human thought. You exactly know precisely when to properly use it. You perfectly know exactly how it emotionally feels when you naturally say it. And honestly, most importantly, it dramatically helps you sound so incredibly, beautifully natural and so wonderfully, completely confident, instead of sounding exactly like a stiff, robotic machine. Slowly reading from a dusty textbook, you actively sound like a truly real, breathing human being, having a genuinely real, warm conversation. Now, I really want us to do a little bit of fun practice together. Right here and exactly right now, I strongly want you to carefully repeat after me, and I want you to say it very slowly but beautifully smoothly, entirely without ever breaking the words apart. Okay, are you totally ready? Here we absolutely go. How is it going? Say it loudly with me. How is it going? Closely notice how the words just beautifully flow perfectly into each other. How is it going? Now you bravely try it. Very, very good. Let us happily try another great one. I do not think so. Deeply feel the natural rhythm of that specific phrase. I do not think so. Absolutely excellent. Let us confidently do one more. Let me gently think. Let me think. Truly great job. Do you actively feel the wonderful difference? Physically in your mouth and mentally in your brain. Yeah. You are entirely not trying to learn random, strictly isolated words anymore. You are beautifully learning actual, meaningful chunks of meaning. You are rapidly acquiring little, powerful blocks of real, deeply authentic, everyday spoken English. This is the very beating heart of the incredible chunking method, and please believe me when I passionately tell you this, because I have personally seen it happen so many beautiful times when you confidently know just 20 or exactly 30 or maybe even 50 of these incredibly useful little chunks, you can absolutely already start having genuinely great, deep conversations with real people. You can happily chat, you can loudly laugh, you can deeply connect, entirely and completely, without ever translating in your busy head, and entirely, completely without overthinking your complicated grammar, because the correct grammar is already built, totally, perfectly, right into the chunk itself. You absolutely do not have to fix it. You strictly do not have to worry about it. You just simply have to confidently use it, and that is a feeling of absolute, pure freedom. For any dedicated English learner to firmly know that you can speak totally without fear of ever making a silly mistake, because the exact block you are using is already completely perfect. And this is exactly, precisely what we are absolutely going to focus on as we happily continue moving forward, because my ultimate, deepest goal for you right here on Talk Evolve is absolutely not just to teach you boring words, but to deeply teach you how to actually, beautifully communicate. And my wonderful learners, that brings us to the end of the very first part of our incredible journey today. We have completely broken down exactly why you struggle to speak, and we have introduced the absolute magic of the chunking method. But please, do not go anywhere just yet, because the most important part is still entirely ahead of us. In our very next episode, I am going to reveal to you exactly where you can find these beautiful everyday chunks hiding right in plain sight. I am going to give you the exact specific technique called shadowing that will completely transform your physical speaking muscles in just 10 minutes a day. You absolutely do not want to miss it, because that is where the real, true magic of fluency actually happens. In our very next episode, I am going to reveal to you exactly where you can find these beautiful, everyday chunks hiding right in plain sight. I am going to give you the exact, specific technique called shadowing that will completely transform your physical speaking muscles in just 10 minutes a day. You absolutely do not want to miss it, because that is where the real, true magic of fluency actually happens. So please make sure you are subscribed, hit that notification bell, and get completely ready for part 2. Until then, practice the chunks we learned today, and I will see you very, very soon. I am your host, Sophia,